1989 was the year that gave us Oscar-winning movies like Driving Miss Daisy and Dead Poets Society. It was also the year when Bette Midler's Wind Beneath My Wings cleaned up at the Grammys, and Cheers finally won the Outstanding Comedy Series prize at the Emmys after 4 straight losses. But what about the Video Game Awards? If you've ever wanted to know what old-school games took home the top prize, then you've definitely come to the right place. Today we're going to recreate Electronic Gaming Monthly's Best and Worst of 1989 award show, featuring 36 categories ranging from Hottest Game Hero to Wimpiest Hostage to Best Videotape. Let me cue up the VCR and introduce you to the greatest televised award show to never be broadcast. Fade to black and cue the theme song. Live from Hollywood at the historic Dorothy Chandler Pavilion is Electronic Gaming Monthly's 2nd annual Best and Worst Award Show. Brought to you tonight by Revlon, creators of makeup. And now your host, this guy. Hello and welcome to Electronic Gaming Monthly's 2nd annual Best and Worst Award Show. Yes, you heard that right. This is the 2nd annual. But we're not gonna talk about that first episode. We're just gonna pretend it doesn't exist. It got a little out of hand and there was a bit of a body count. I heard a guy comparing it to Ultima. It was a mess. I think we can all agree with that. But I can stand up here all night apologizing for how out of control things got last time, but instead I want to honor the best and worst games to come out in 1989. And in order to do that, we're going to just immediately jump into our first category, the worst film of the year? This is still a video game award show, right, guys? Okay, so I guess we're just going to plow through this, because the winner of the worst film of 1989 goes to Star Trek V. Which is boldly going where no one ever wanted to go before. Speaking of boldly going, there are a few more non-game awards listed here, so let's just hammer them out right now. The prize for Best Videotape goes to... oh, no shocker here, Batman. This year was peak Basinger. And the award for Worst Videotape goes to... Sweatin' to the Oldies. Unfortunately, there's nobody here to accept the award, but EGM sent us a note. If I see that obnoxious Richard Simmons commercial one more time, I'm going to throw my NES into the TV. Well, don't do that. Okay, so moving on to something completely different. Let's go ahead and talk about movies? What? Come on. All right, I see what you're doing here. It's the award for Best Movie to Game, so it's kind of like a bridge. Actually, it's kind of like a Batman, because that's the winner. Surprise! Friday the 13th is the winner for Worst Movie to Game, and EGM sent us a note that says, no hacking and no slashing makes Jason a dull boy. They also said that Friday the 13th is the James Bond of slashers. I don't know how I feel about that. On the other hand, I do know how I feel about Star Trek V winning the award for No Movie to Game, because I don't care. Actually, it did get a game on the PC, and there was an NES adaptation that was canceled, but, you know, whatever. Hey, let's talk about lawsuits, because at least that's not movie-related. Tetris takes home the top prize for most lawsuit, just barely beating out Double Dragon 2: The Revenge. This, of course, all stems from the legal battles between Nintendo and Tengen over the Russian puzzler. It's a really interesting story that I'd love to get into here, but we still have more than 24 categories to get through, and I seriously don't want this to go nearly as long as the Oscars. Now, before we get to the serious awards, I want to have some fun, so let's just go ahead and power through some of these silly categories that won't show up next year. The award for Wimpiest Hostage in a video game goes to President Bush in Bad Dudes, because he eats a hamburger. Which isn't even actually true. If you look closely, you'll see that it's actually Dan Quayle chowing down on that burger, not George Bush. Over on the other side, there's River City Ransom, that is not only one of my favorite brawlers of all time, but is also the winner of most power-ups in a video game award. Because it's loaded with things you can pick up. I mean, it really is. It's actually kind of overkill. Now, the winner for the most unpronounceable game title, of course, goes to Nobunaga's Ambition. I say of course because ambition is a tough word to say. Oh, here's a similar category. Most unintelligible spelling in a game. The winner? Keith Courage in Alpha Zone. I bet you didn't think I was ever going to bring that name up, huh? If you punch in a cheat code in the menu, it pops up in Japanese. This confused EGM for some reason. Similarly confusing, the two games that won the worst spelling error in a video game award. First up, there's POW with this spelling of congratulations, and then there's ThunderForce 2 with secret bonus. Oh, no. So, here's the good news, guys. We're nearing the halfway point of this stupid award show. The bad news? The next category is gonna make you hurl. That's right, it's the always popular worst stomach problems in a game category, which goes to Ghouls and Ghosts. It may not be the only game to feature monstrous projectile vomiting this year, but it's definitely the best. So, I guess there's really only one way to follow that up, and that's with the hottest hero in a video game. I just gotta say that this was a competitive category, what with Simon Belmont and Link considered to be heavy favorites. But in the end, Mega Man was able to take the top honors with his superior firepower. I wonder how the Blue Bomber would fare against the two winners of the Coolest Boss Attackers award. The first winner is Jagu from the Legendary Axe, which is big and memorable. And then there's Loki from Ghouls and Ghosts, the second win of the evening for the Capcom favorite. And that reminds me of that time that I was on GamePro TV telling the world how to easily beat Loki. Wait, that technically hasn't happened yet. Forget I said that, there'll be no time paradoxes under my watch. Up next, we have a pair of most eagerly anticipated games, one that has been released and one that hasn't. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles take home the prize for the Was Released award, while Super Mario Bros. 3 wasn't. I mean, it was, or at least will be, but it won this wasn't award. Yeah, that's clear, right? Hey look, Phantasy Star was named the most challenging video game, which is accurate. The best video game controller is the Hudson Sensui SSS, obviously. Also, Sega, Konami, Acclaim, Sunsoft, and Tecmo were all named the most promising game companies of 1989, while Tonka and their dwindling sales took home the dubious Fading Fast prize. Speaking of fading fast, we need to talk about some endings. When it comes to the worst ending in a video game, the winner can only be Ultima. You spend dozens of hours hacking and slashing, and this is what you get? Now, if you thought that anything other than Ninja Gaiden was going to get the best ending in a video game award, then you clearly haven't been paying attention to 1989. It plays out like a Shakespearean tragedy, with Ryu's father dying, twist identities, and crumbling fortresses. It's everything you could possibly want in an ending, and only Ninja Gaiden 2 is going to top it. Mark my words. Oh, by the way, there's also an award for longest ending in a video game. And that goes to NEC's Victory Run on the TurboGrafx, which just goes on and on and on and on. It's like watching the sun go down in real time. It's boring. Okay, folks, I know we're going long here, but I promise that we're almost done. But before we get to the categories I know you're waiting for, let's first switch over to a list of prizes that have clearly been scribbled down on a piece of paper at the last second. So the most exciting new theme in a game award goes to Tetris, because it spawned decades of puzzle games. Or it will, you know what I mean. Or do you? The most ridiculous premise of a game? Well, thanks for asking, because that goes to Taboo, which is just one step removed from a video calculator cart for the NES. One of the more curious categories of the year is the worst propaganda film of 1989. After much deliberation, the award goes to Nintendo's Game Boy press conference. The EGM editors weren't having any of it when Nintendo tried to convince everybody that 16-bit consoles were unnecessary because of the Game Boy. Oh, there's a little note attached to this award that simply says, "Stuff a pizza in it, Mario." Okay, folks, we're finally at the part of the show we've all been waiting for. Every year, Electronic Gaming Monthly plays hundreds of games, and these are the best of the best. The award for Best Role-Playing Game goes to FCI's Ultima, which also won the prize for Worst Ending. I'll let you square that in your mind. There's a three-way tie when it comes to best sports-themed video game, with World-Class Baseball, Tommy Lasorda Baseball, and Baseball Simulator all taking top honors. And there's another tie for best sequel to an existing game, Mega Man 2 and Ghouls and Ghosts. Great games all around. Speaking of Ghouls and Ghosts, the Capcom Classic also had the best graphics in a video game, according to Electronic Gaming Monthly. The award for best background music and sound in a video game goes to Fighting Street, which sounds like this.
Out of the best, you're now the same Street Fighter in the world.
That's probably not the music and sound they're honoring, right? 1989 was the year of new consoles, but there could only be one best new video game system. The Genesis, TurboGrafx, and Game Boy are all looking for a win here, because an early push could give them the edge going into the 1990s. But when it comes right down to it, there's no competition here. The choice is clearly Sega's 16-bitter. It has the games and the support that make it the system to watch.
If you're looking for a little excitement, Diet Coke has a chance you'll jump at. It's the Diet Coke Sony Adventure of a Lifetime sweepstakes. Winners win a trip across Europe on the world's finest luxury train, or the remarkable new Sony Watchman TV. For details, look for store displays of Diet Coke with 100% NutraSweet. But hurry, enter before it's too late.
You may just win the adventure of a lifetime.
The world's worst trained police force has graduated, and now they're back.
This is serious.
To mess it up again, the network television premiere, Police Academy 2, next.
Hey, welcome back to Electronic Gaming Monthly's second annual Best and Worst Awards. You don't know this, but during the break I was chatting with Jack Nicholson about the chances of Batman picking up the Best Game of the Year prize. I told him that I wasn't sure, but then he handed me $100, and I'd say that his chances got a little better. What do you say we make it an even 1,000, Jack? I bet you could just about lock it up for $1,000. Watch out, guys, he might have an axe. Okay, enough fooling around here, because we still have 4 Game of the Year awards to hand out. Let's go ahead and start with the Game of the Year for the Nintendo Entertainment System, which goes to no, not Batman. It actually goes to Ninja Gaiden. With its cinemascope effects, interesting storyline, and radical gameplay, Ninja Gaiden proves to be an instant winner. Well deserved. Moving over to the Game of the Year for the Sega Master System, the winner is Sega's Wonder Boy 3. Will Wonder Boy's problems never end? Hopefully not, since the games just keep getting better and better. Couldn't agree more. Okay folks, we're almost there. The award for the best game of the year for the TurboGrafx goes to the Legendary Axe. The perfect blend of action and adventure makes the Legendary Axe a must-have for Turbo owners. It's a true classic. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time to reveal the best game of the year, as voted on by the editors of Electronic Gaming Monthly. Okay, the winner is Ghouls and Ghosts. With graphics and sound right out of the arcade and gameplay that kept us challenged after the first play, Ghouls and Ghosts took home the top spot hands down. Ghouls blew us away from start to finish and really showed us how good a 16-bitter could be. Well, I have it on good authority that Sir Arthur would have been here to accept the prize, but unfortunately the devil keeps tricking him into replaying his own game over and over. That's a Ghouls and Ghosts joke. Trust me, it kills if you've ever tried to beat the game. The boss at the end makes you play the whole thing twice, and you know what? I don't think I need to explain it, because this is the end of the show. And what a show it's been. We've seen vomiting monsters, taboo topics, black and white propaganda, wimpy hostages, and Star Treks. So much Star Trek. I want to once again thank everybody for watching and sticking with us after what happened last year. This was an incredible celebration of the best in games, but now it has to come to an end. And like Prince says in this year's chart-bustin' song Bat Dance, get the funk up and keep bustin'. My name is Cyril, and this has been the Best and Worst Award Show. See you next year, and keep playing. Hey, thanks for watching Electronic Gaming Monthly's Best and Worst Awards of 1989. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we're going to post new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday between now and the end of the year. So here's the question I have for you. Do you think EGM got it right in 1989? If not, then what games do you think should have won? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. So even though we're going to be focused on recreating these award shows, I want you to know that we still have a bunch of reviews and other features to get to. Expect a new episode of Game Over on Monday, followed by Persona Dancing review on Tuesday. In the meantime, have a happy Thanksgiving, and make sure to click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.